Okay, Adrian. Fine class. Great to see you've come back and you're playing again. Um, I don't have a whole lot of things to go through as far as you might want to do this, that, or the other thing. I will give you some pointers on what we did today. I noticed the Stevie Wonder song. That was one thing that I noticed was there were some parts in there for certain changes where it was like for the strumming part of the chords, it was kind of tough because the timing was kind of tough from one chord to the other. So what I recommend you do is just take your time for each of the chords, because for all the things that I'm doing, like when I'm going that stuff like dun, 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 um, just take your time. Start off where you're just strumming. So like you just count it out. Two, three, four. Two, three, two, three, four. One, two, two, three, four. Two, three, one, two, three, one, two, three, four. When you do that, you're gonna notice a whole lot of things. You're gonna notice one of the most important things you're gonna notice when you take your time and you just kind of either pluck the strings. I start off by just strumming the string, strumming the chords. When you take your time for all the chords, even though there's some changes there that are kind of quick, even when you're playing it slow, if you slow everything down and you play the chords out and you just let them kind of ring out, you'll see how many things were filled in between each chord, right? And I hope you saw that when I just kind of that was two measures. Two, three, four. So you're gonna see some of those chords actually take two measures to them, and some of them have like one full measure to them. And with the exception of some of those changes from like a, and then you're like, those are the exceptions. But when you break it down that way, that's where the creativity comes in. Because if you're here, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, and then you're three, four, two, three, four, two, three. All right, so automatically you saw me just kind of put a percussive element in there. I'm doing that because I want to hear some more, something to fill in the timing of those chords, right? Because you can do a lot within a measure, right? So that's why the song plays a certain way when I'm playing it, right? So um, you can just kind of on your own kind of get the concept just by layering different things within the measure. So you're just that alone, instead of going, I put percussion and I'm strumming a couple of more times, as opposed to just striking the chord once, right? So it's things that seem little that aren't really little at all. It's the secret is in the subtleties. That's where all the spice and everything of the song comes in. But you can do your own thing, all right? Learn the song the way that we're doing it, of course, but then for creative purposes, you make the song your own and you kind of add some spices to it. So you're seeing there's a lot of things that it's going into those subtleties. Okay, and the other thing we're just going to go into autumn leaves. That was good. That was really good. Because you actually use the technique, the method I just talked to you about, the Stevie Wonder song you actually use for Autumn Leaves, where you played the chords gently and you took your time with it. All right. You're going to be able to do a whole lot of things creatively with that song using that method, just by playing it slowly, each of those chords, because you're going to want to add some things in there. All right, the method in doing that for a song like Autumn Leaves, and for all the songs, but namely Autumn Leaves, know the key that you're playing in, okay? Know the key that you're playing in, because each of the chords, like in the manual that last summer, the scale is the thing. If you know all the notes in the scale, you're going to make the chords from those notes. All right, so when you're hitting certain chords, there are things that you can do in the midway through those chords that are in the G major scale or the E pentatonic. So you can use, that's what you're doing. That's why when you're going from one chord to another and you're adding certain things in there, it makes a lot of sense. It sounds good. It's this, that, and the other thing, because theoretically you're staying within the key. You're staying within the scale, right? So those are the notes that you're actually hearing. Now, in saying that, you could also use tension notes, accidentals, if you want to call them that, but they're tension notes. But make sure when you use that, the next note that you're doing is the root of the next chord. All right. So when you're using tension notes, when you're playing rhythm, it's very easy to do that, but you have to have an answer to it. So wherever your tension note is, that next note should be the root of that next chord. Okay. So it'll all flow a certain way. All right. So I was doing like a walking bass line when we were doing Autumn Leaves. So instead of going instead of doing that, I was going. I just made that up, and I'm just hitting any of the notes there. I put an F in there. It's just supposed to be in the key of G, right? But the F was used as a tension note. All right, so there's a lot of, and then I had an F in there as well. So there's a lot of different things you could do, but make sure your notes, those tension notes, are used a certain way, and they have some resolution. It's something, whatever is coming after it is the answer. It kind of makes that whole phrase make sense. Okay, and even here, right there. So I have an A, a B, and a C in there, right? And then so I did something like this. You can even put a G sharp in there, which is what I did, but the next note was a G, and I went into my G major 7. Now right here, so that's supposed to be a C major 7. All right, so what I did there, when I went to the G major 7, I hit an open A sharp, B, and then I went into the C. So I had a couple of tension notes. Tension notes can also be the notes that are actually in the scale, right? But the way that you're playing it, if you play certain notes, it might not make sense. Well, when you're going to do things like that, you can call those tension notes as well, because it's making tension from one chord to another, but it's building the transition. All right, so when I did that, what did I do? I'm here. All right, so I did a number of things in there with notes that weren't even in the scale. All right, but when we're dealing with chords, again, you can do those kinds of things, and it will really make sense, because we're dealing more with chords and harmonies. When you're playing with scales, you can do that, but again, it's even more important to make sure the note has resolution. That next note provides us with some closure as far as what you're trying to say. Okay, to make the theory be the thing, right? So the other reason why it's important when you're just soloing is because you're dealing with the single string, right? When you're playing, you're not dealing with the harmonies of multiple notes, at the same time. You're dealing with harmonies, so. Right? And all right, so I hit some tension notes in there as well. All right, and that was supposed to be the G major scale. I added a whole lot of, put an F in there, A sharp, all kinds of different things. Okay, so there's that. Remember the hammer-on technique, okay, when you're doing your solos. This one, right? Right, and then there's a pull-off if you want to do that. Droning the strings. You could also drone the strings with your major, doing the major scale. Right, so you could do a lot of different things there. And then that was it. All right, so that was Autumn Leaves. Work on your classical song. If you can, it would be great if you can do a couple of maybe videotape yourself playing it. Send me a clip or something like that, until the next class. All right, so fine job, and keep the flow going. Keep practicing, Manny, and keep it moving. All right, I thank you very much for your time, and I will see you next week. God bless.